looking goofy at the same time. He bugging, she looking, I'm going for mine. Confidently I approach with that eye-to-eye contact.
Good evening. Welcome to my channel. I am Fashionista, and today we're going to be doing a think piece on a current event that is currently unfolding regarding the passport bro community. Okay. There was an American by the name of Floyd that recently got arrested, and I am going to play the actual arrest video from the good people in Brazil, and you can hear for yourself exactly what they believe that Floyd is associated with. So let us get into that, and I'll be back with commentary. Stay with me.
Police in Sao Paulo arrested an American man who was sexually exploiting children in Rio de Janeiro. His detention was at a downtown hotel. He described himself on social media profiles as a sex tourist. The text then includes a series of excerpts from a video. Get out!
As soon as they entered the room, the American, identified as Floyd Wallace Jr., 29, was arrested in the Liberdade neighborhood in downtown Sao Paulo. Today, he eating game. He threw himself to the ground and was handcuffed. The operation was carried out by teams from the Homicide and Personal Protection Department in support of civil police officers from the state of Rio de Janeiro, DICE. According to information from the Child and Adolescent Police Station, the American is accused of raping and sexually exploiting several children. In conducting their inspection of the hotel room where he was lodged, the police found a significant quantity of electronic equipment, including files containing child pornography. They also seized a variety of items such as pen drives, memory cards, a notebook, a computer, multiple cell phones, some stuffed animals, a watch with an embedded camera, and various other telephone devices. At the start of December, law enforcement commenced an intelligence operation following a report from a ride-sharing driver. The driver stated that a user who had used a false name requested a ride with two minors, whiners. During the ride, the man spoke with the children who said they were going to meet an older man who didn't speak Portuguese. The girls couldn't explain how they knew him. That's when the civil police were contacted. On December 18th, the police identified a user who had requested another ride with four underage girls. During monitoring, agents identified that the American had traveled to Sao Paulo the previous Saturday and was planning to flee the country. This is where the teams established a perimeter to prevent his escape. A temporary arrest warrant was served for the crimes of rape of a vulnerable person and facilitating the sexual exploitation of children. His passport was also seized. The investigation also revealed that the criminal had self-identified as a sex tourist on social media profiles. According to the civil police, Floyd is a U.S. citizen and has a channel on a video platform where he posts videos of himself resisting police approaches and being arrested in various states of his native country, The foreigner has a criminal record in more than 3 U.S. states for crimes such as resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and assaulting a police officer. The combined sentences could reach 34 years in prison. Investigations continue to identify and locate other possible individuals involved in the scheme, as well as to determine if there are new victims.
Letitia Mean is in front of the federal police, which is investigating, right? And his arrest was made. Now searching for other members here in Brazil because this gang is international, right, Leticia?
Yes, William. And the police also want to know how many victims were targeted by this man, this 29-year-old criminal. The information we have is that he is here at the federal police headquarters in Sao Paulo, an investigation together with the civil police of Rio de Janeiro, because that's where these victims were targeted, right? The first identified victims, which we covered in this report, were alerted to the authorities by a rideshare driver about these teenage girls who were going to meet this man. They said they didn't have much information about him, that he was a foreigner who didn't speak Portuguese, and this raised an alert among the police. At the apartment, our first live report was in front of the apartment, a kind of hotel, a lodging platform where he was staying in Sao Paulo. Mahabe. Quarter. The police believe that in recent days he had been using this location as an escape route to return to the United States. Everything was very well planned. He already knew when he should post all this so that the police here in Brazil wouldn't find him. According to the investigation, he was even being financed to commit all these crimes here. Now, the objective of the Brazilian police, the federal police, the São Paulo civil police, and also the Rio de Janeiro civil police, William, is to count the number of victims and also listen to these families, and also we will continue to follow up, William.
Thank you very much for the information. Key role, isn't it, when police forces collaborate? That has been very effective, right? Increasingly, Willen and the police are integrated. You see, you start an investigation in one state and finish it in another. This partnership is very important for combating organized crime. As in this case here, he's in jail and can provide information to other criminals who are in Brazil participating in this sex tourism, which is what he even declares himself to be doing on social media, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we got to hear directly from the folks out in Brazil. That was a news channel that reported on this arrest. This was quite interesting. What I will say is I want to give a shout out to that Uber driver, because if it wasn't for him being concerned and, going the extra mile, this would have continued on possibly, the fact that he was talking to those underage girls and reached out to the Uber platform to have them look into this was definitely, awesome. You know what I'm saying? Some people would just have turned a blind eye, but he says, no, I'm going to follow this through. So shout out to him for having the due diligence to take care of the business, right? Also, all the things that they uncovered and showed, like all the devices, the watch with the camera, the toys, the stuffed animals. If this person is there without kids, why would you have stuffed toys? You know what I'm saying? Very, 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 very interesting, right? Very mind-boggling. So, I'm not the judge or the jury. We're just reporting what's being, reported and shown to us through the news channel. Now, on top of that, you have the police lady who was going through all this man's stuff with no gloves on. Okay? We know what this man may have been doing, right? So maybe the protocol over there is not to have gloves. I don't know. But if I was going into that kind of environment, I would definitely want to have my hands covered. That's just me. That's just me, y'all. But what was interesting also is that they referred to the Passport Bro community as a gang. The Brazilian government is viewing this entity as a gang. Okay? What really is of note is that when this broke out on the news, on the airwaves, it wasn't followed by a moment of reflection, but more or less with a moment for disassociation. What do I mean? So the people of Brazil have labeled Passport Bro Floyd as someone associated with potentially, allegedly, human trafficking, with child pornography, with sex tourism, all of these things, okay? And why would this man have on his social media platform that he is dealing with sex tourism? Why for come? But I digress, okay? So this man is associated with these things now, okay? And the gang they're referring to is the Passport Bro community, right? And so now people are trying to steer clear of him and all this negativity that is coming his way and to the way of the passport bros who he has been representing in this online space. Okay, let's check this out real quick. So this gentleman here is named Auston Holleman, and he did a video where he was discussing the arrest of passport bro Floyd. What's interesting is that when I watched his video, when he was actually discussing this, he had a different title. It had passport bro in the title. Right now it says, "Are Americans in Brazil with 6-year-olds?" Before it had, "Are passport bros in Brazil with 6-year-olds," right? So other passport bro members made videos regarding his titling of his video, right? Now, for a little bit of context, Austin here is an expat, I believe, and he spent a significant amount of time in Brazil. As a matter of fact, I saw a video where passport bro Floyd pulled up on him in Brazil based upon seeing the videos that Austin had put out to the community. This young man from Omaha, passport bro Floyd, showed up in Brazil with no clothes and nowhere to stay and needed a haircut at that, right? Now, y'all, this is just unheard of, right? So I want to say he ended up staying and hanging out with Austin for about 2 weeks, and he was featured on Austin's platform. Now, mind you, Austin, you know, had become associated with the passport bro community, and he has since tried to steer clear of that as well, right? I want to say that initially the passport bro community was affiliated or associated with, I'll say prosperous older men that were going overseas to enjoy traveling, right? It has since changed. The narrative surrounding the passport bro community has since changed to where you now have gentlemen that are using the terminology and they are putting out content that is not just Black influential men traveling to see the world, but I saw a video that was provided to me by a male friend of mine where the gentlemen were going to other countries to receive services at the brothels and things of that nature, where they would go and they would spend the day, if you will. They would pick this person, get serviced, regenerate, rejuvenate themselves, and then go to person number 2, right? This was on the YouTube, okay? Then you have a lot of men that go in groups for entertainment, right? You know, okay? So Passport Bro Floyd has been associated with this Passport Bro movement for quite some time, okay? So now that this has happened, this arrest, if you will, now it's, oh, he's not a real Passport Bro. It's, oh no, he's not associated with this movement, okay? Unfortunately, you don't get to choose when it's convenient for you to have the association. The association has been made, right? So that's where we are, okay? And it's interesting to see how people are trying very hard to say, oh no, he's not a part of us. Like, for instance, when Mr. Austin did that video, it originally had on there passport bros and 6-year-olds in Brazil. Now it's American traveler, if you will, in Brazil. Okay? Now, think about it as this. Mr. Auston Holleman, he had issues in Brazil recently as well. He made a comment, to my understanding, about Brazilian women being easy, and they did not take too kindly to that, okay? So he ended up having to leave up out of there. You know what I'm saying? So yes, and I do understand that Mr. Holleman was kind of being made the face of the passport bro community, but he's a young man, easy on the eye, where traditionally a lot of the passport bros are associated with being overweight and older. You know what I'm saying? So yes, unfortunately, as they say, birds on a feather flock together. So you may have one group of people associated with this movement that are operating in the right way, okay? But you may have others who are not. Unfortunately, perception is reality. A lot of times the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So although you may be doing right over here, this is a lot louder. So that's why the passport bro community has been affiliated and associated with negative terms such as child pornography, such as sex tourism, human trafficking, all of those things. It's unfortunate, but it is true. That is where we are, okay? Now, I've seen a lot of commentary online where the passport bros are saying that women are just so upset that American men are choosing to be serviced and to find companionship from women overseas. And I want it to be very, very, very clear that that is not the case. As a matter of fact, we are happy for you that you are choosing to go overseas to be serviced by the women in those foreign lands. Okay? Now, I think that everyone has a preference and they have the right to, act upon preferences. As far as you may prefer someone that, that is Asian, that is Filipino, that is Jamaican, that is all these things, you have your right to a preference. And I will tell you that what the passport bro community is now being associated with, American women are very much so okay with you not choosing to be with them because of the things that you are doing when you go overseas to be serviced. Okay? We're okay with that, right? Now, you love who you love, and that's awesome. And I am a person that does not care at all about interracial dating. I have no opinion of it. If that's what you want to do, then that is your prerogative to do it, okay? Whether you are in the country or out the country, it does not matter to me because I am not your preference and you are not mine. So we are good here, okay? We're good here, honestly. So what I would like to show you guys is that I ran across a video of Mr. Oshay Duke Jackson, and he was doing commentary on a gentleman's page whose name is Sunshine Shoulders. And they brought up some very interesting points when it comes to the passport bro experience, if you will. And I feel like it would be very fitting for us to bring that into the discussion at this juncture. Let's get into it.
But Western men, we always say that, oh, there's no good women at home.
Uh-oh. You about to break it down.
Only to travel overseas to date no good women.
Boy, listen. I'm gonna tell you, he gonna keep building it up. He's about to build.
I can't make sense of it.
Right.
All in search of a traditional wife and girlfriend. Which it starts out wrong because our definition of traditional is messed up. If you're honest, your definition of traditional means a sex slave and a maid. Now let me stop right there and say this. That's not all that's available overseas.
Okay. Now, this is an important distinction. Let me also address this too, because I have several friends that have married ladies from Uganda, or this is the third world. So what's happening is a lot of men, if you're in America dating a woman, you would require her, for the most part, you would meet her at work, you would meet her at church. She might not be what you like physically, but there would be some social parameters there, some commonality there that you can attach yourself to. When we come overseas, it's harder for us to get that framework because many countries have broken systems, which produce people who are not really viable for the economy, or the economy doesn't exist. So, not to call anybody dumb, I'm not saying that, but you're dealing with a lady that probably don't have constant employment. She has different challenges. She doesn't see the same world, but she thick, she got a fat booty, she gonna let you clap. So, okay, now you have fake femininity, but really what you got is dependency. This is different. It's not like an option. You're kind of the way that she has to, survive or live a better life. And that's what he is referring to.
Because a lot of you clowns out there, you misinterpret what I say. Well, I'm not gonna sit there and explain every video I make to y'all, but I want you to hear this clearly. That's not all the women who are available overseas.
Okay.
There's beautiful, intelligent women with traditional values. We just don't end up with them. This is what this is about. So guess what?
Okay.
We end up with bar girls, which is just a polite way of saying prostitute.
Okay.
Single mothers with multiple children. I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about 4, 6, 7.
Hold on. This is nothing but the God's honest truth. I have seen so many men that come to not really this part of the world, but I've seen it a few times in Kenya. Dealing with chicks, you'll say, I don't want to deal with a black single mom in the States. Fine. Come to Africa, deal with a single mom. But this is more prevalent in Dominican Republic. It's more prevalent in Thailand, definitely in Brazil. And you will see men literally, if you go into some of these passport bro groups on Facebook, they are literally fighting over the same girls that they're sleeping with. Like, it happens a lot. I don't go in there as much anymore, but 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, it was bad. Like, bros was really fighting like, oh, you mess with my girl? Like, that's my girl, that's my chick. But the girl is no good, but she thick. She got a big booty. The chick that, has some of the values of a lady that wants to stay in and, maybe don't want to give it up right away. A lot of brothers will have an issue with that because you're looking at what you can clap. And the reason why that is because so many men have not had access for so long. And so they go crazy. They come to a place like Uganda, a place to like Rwanda, a place like Kenya. And the women you want in the States would have been kind of hard to get if they're in Houston, Atlanta, whatever. But here, Brazil, it's accessible. So now you're trying to make up for the lost time and the clapping that you didn't do like 20 years ago.
I'm talking about what I'm seeing. Uneducated, unemployed, downright poor women.
That happens a lot. Yes, it does happen a lot. Guys don't want to admit it, but yes, this is something that happens a lot.
Inexperienced.
Yes.
Unattractive and unwanted.
And immature. Let me just say this. This is not to offend anybody, but a lot of times when you come from countries with broken systems, economically, educationally, you live in a world where merit-based behavior, being good at your job, being good in the economy, you're not based on those things. So there's no incentivization to be good because you don't get paid more. So everything is relationship, kind of who do I know? Who can I network I can get into? And so it stops a lot of maturity for how to basically be competitive in a relationship or in an economy or in a business. So a lot of ladies in the third world can face some level of immaturity in comparison to what an American or a British person has understood as everyday life. And so when you meet a lady and she don't understand you got to work 7 days a week, you work in 10 hours a day, she doesn't understand why you got to do that. Why is that important? Because they don't reward that kind of behavior sometimes in these countries.
Even by the local men. But we brag about it.
Even the local men don't want these chicks. And that is also so very true. I've seen so many times where dudes overspend for a chick that the local man will not spend $1 on. And they can be fine as hell, but you don't know why.
You don't even know what you got. But yeah, we walk around bragging and boasting about it.
Yep.
Thinking you done found the gold man.
Mm-hmm.
You done stepped on a landmine, dude.
Cooking. Hit him.
Your picker's broke. You don't even know what constitutes a good woman.
Right.
We done blown our lives up at home only to come over here and blow them up again a second time.
Yep.
Yeah, men, subconsciously, we lower our standards.
Yeah.
When we come over here.
Yep.
Imagine if you would only accept those same standards at home, you may have a good woman there. You might not be lonely and isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me, man. Put in the comments. Y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Yep.
See, I've been accused of a lot of things, but not telling the truth is not one of them. That last video I made got you guys up in arms. I'm going to tell you the nitty gritty.
Right.
It's just not what y'all want to hear.
Right.
I'm trying to help you.
Right.
I'm going to tell you that old Jolly Rancher stuff. All these other bloggers be telling you, man, you ain't going to learn nothing.
Right.
America, or history, is going to look back on this great migration, is what people are calling it now. But damn it, the grass is going to look greener because it's fake.
Right.
It's artificial turf.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
It's going to look greener. It's going to look better.
Right.
These damn planes are starting to look like Noah's Ark. 2 of every type of foods on there.
And so this is crazy because so many people talking about the guys coming to Colombia, the planes are full. It's so many black men traveling right now. And I got to admit, and I'm not dissing no country or nothing like that, but if you've lived in the place long enough, like I've lived in Uganda or been in Kenya or whatever, yeah, there are some benefits to dating women, over here. But man, like what you start to understand that women are just women, and there are some cultural problems we have in the States and some cultural problems we have here. And what you're dealing with is the problems that men and women typically have with infrastructural broken systematic issues that affect women overseas in ways they don't affect women in America. Women in America don't like you. She ain't got to pretend that she don't like you, because the American system is capitalist and she can take care of herself in many ways. Whereas a woman over here, you don't know what they're thinking about, or in Philippines rather. Let me say that. So yeah,
they coming on canes, wheelchairs, they crippled.
Damn.
Can't see in one eye. You blind and can't see out the other eye.
Damn.
Mentally retarded, paralyzed, ostracized.
Woo.
In search of a land with no standards. See, your picker's broke. She don't have a picker.
When he says a land with no standards, I'm pretty sure he's not trying to diss where he's at. But third world nations are third world for a reason. Broken systems, broken infrastructure, broken economics, corruption, no accountability. So if you're from a country like that has those attributes, the people in the country typically mirror those things. Not to call anybody bad, but yes, that's why it's a low trust environment. That's why you have bad roads. That's why you have poor educational system, because of that broken system. And so now you're marrying somebody from that system. You're dating somebody from that system.
Do you got a pulse? Do you got a pension? That's all. That's all you need. And then you want to complain when it don't work out.
Right.
Then you want and moan because somebody says, hey man, slow down. Everything's not what it appears to be over here. Take your time.
Right.
They're not going anywhere. Wherever you are. But it's time we take some responsibility, personal responsibility for what we're ending up with overseas.
Right.
Traveling all this way to deal with no good women. Why? That's a good question. I really don't know, but I'm going to tell you this. For a lot of us, we're at the end of our lives. For a lot of men who watch my channel.
Y'all, that was very enlightening for me. Thank you to Oshay Duke Jackson for doing this commentary, and for Mr. Sunshine Shoulders for sharing his experience and trying to help educate the men of the world about what's really going on in these international lands. Okay. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that Mr. Sunshine Shoulders said, Mr. Oshay Duke Jackson was like, yeah, that's right. You know, he was confirming it, right? On top of that, I do know a gentleman that I used to work with. I would associate loosely with the Passport Bro community. He ended up meeting a young lady in the Philippines, and she did have a child. He didn't have any kids. He was about 60-ish. She had a child already, and then he had a couple kids with her. I think they got married, and he was trying to get her and the kids over here to the States, and you know, he wanted to build a house over in the Philippines and all these different things, right? So they're absolutely right that these men will go to other lands and deal with women that have kids, but will not deal with women with kids in the States. Now, let's be clear. I am not saying that a man should deal with anybody with kids. I'm just saying that the point that they made, I have personally seen that to be true. That is what I'm saying. I was very surprised to hear Mr. Sunshine Shoulders say that the men are dealing with not the creme de la creme of that location, that the men over there, you know, aren't even dealing with these women. But yet the American men go over there because she fine, and you know, and they have them proudly on their arm. Shout out to y'all. Sound like the joke may be on you, right? From what he's saying. I'm not sure. But yeah. I was on my live stream a week ago, and we were talking about this young man who was talking about his program when it comes to dating. And his name is Marcus, if I'm not mistaken. And I ran across a video that he did where he was talking about how his fiance, his ex-fiance, had got pregnant by someone else and left him, or whatever the case was. And basically he went over to Europe, Paris, I believe it was, and he was there for about a month, met this young lady pretty quickly, took her with him to, I think he said, was it Amsterdam and Venice, to other countries while he was there. And he really liked her, apparently. He knew he wanted to spend his life with her, invited her to the States for the holidays, and she kind of slow rolled doing the paperwork. Eventually wasn't approved for the paperwork, right? And she turns up pregnant, and you know, and she's an ex, right? So yeah, you know, I say all that to say is that you do have some men that are out there looking for wives and things like that. But, you know, what I would like to also say is that these foreigners see Americans, they see dollar signs, they see come up, they see green card. Okay. So the gentleman, Mr. Sunshine Shoulders, what I did pick up on his page, because he was actually doing a video, I think, about a gentleman that was going to call the ICE agency on his spouse. So I mean, he's talking about the downsides, I think, of of the dating the international women, foreign women concept is kind of what he talks about from my understanding. But yes, I just wanted, I thought that was a very good take from both of them. And so yet again, when I say that as an American woman, I'm not upset with you for choosing to date overseas and, and to date these women that you are finding over there and who you are being serviced by. I repeat in my Dr. Umar voice, we as American women do not care. We as American women are unbothered by it. And we as American women are so very happy for you and the choices that you have made, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of the American women uh, didn't care about the fact that you were dating overseas. I think it was the contempt that some of the people in this organization would have towards American women, basically trying to put the American women down as not being good enough for the passport bros, when these two gentlemen are stating that the things that the passport bros are saying they don't want in American women, they are more than willing to accept in the women that are overseas. Okay, which that is their prerogative, right? But I want to be clear that I think it was the contempt and the negativity being spewed against the American women is why some women chose to speak out against the passport bro movement. Okay, yeah, this is not an attack on the passport bros, not at all. I'm just commenting on what's going on in the news. I'm also bringing some clarity to a misnomer that has been spewed on the internet waves. Okay, please don't confuse a person, addressing contempt to mean that they are upset about someone dating outside of the country, because we are not. Date your preference, date who chooses you. It's great, no issues. We are being told the real deal from gentlemen that are boots on the ground living in that world. I mean, Mr. Oshay Duke Jackson just said that there are Facebook communities and groups where men are on the internet fighting over the same women. Like, why would you think that American women would be pressed about men that are fighting over the same woman that's in another country? Like I just said about the young man whose ex-fiance ended up pregnant. These women are dealing with you for your money, if you have that. They're dealing with you to get that green card status, okay? And because that they're in a potential third world country, the men over there are probably understanding of the fact that, hey, she got to do this for us. We're going to let her benefit off this American, and we're going to do what we got to do. That might be the thought process. I don't know. Now, one thing Mr. Sunshine Shoulders was mentioning is about that there are women that are educated and elitist, if you will, that's over there. And what he was saying is that those women tend to want to date Caucasian men, not African American men. That's the point that he made that may not have made it onto the actual recording that I showed you guys, but that's what he was making the point of saying. But yes, I don't know, y'all. That's what we got going on here. So just to reiterate, American women are not upset with the passport bros for choosing non-American women. We welcome it, especially considering what we've heard thus far about what the passport bros are up to. I recognize that you all are not a monolith, but you do have a community of gentlemen that are probably doing right and those who are doing wrong. Unfortunately for your community, the ones that are doing wrong are the ones being highlighted, okay? And as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So your movement is now being associated with what's going wrong over here, okay? So if you choose to be a proud Passport Bro member, then understand that is how you are being viewed and associated with, okay? That is what it is, right? Now, like I said, women of American status, we are not upset with you guys. We are happy for you. You know, you should go where you feel valued. You should go and get your preference, okay? But do not be upset that you're not going to be given the opportunity to dissociate yourself with the negativity that is going on with your community, with your movement, okay? That is what happens, right? Now, to be clear, American women were not upset with y'all. It was more about the fact that, you know, you want to go date someone outside of your race, that is fine. But you don't have to condemn the women that are of your race, okay? Because you choose to make someone else feel better. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't have to happen. You can still exist and do what you want to do, and you can still not be negative to the women of your country. Okay? You don't have to do that. There's ways to go around that, right? So if you're still here, thank you so much for supporting the channel, listening to my video. I really appreciate that. I do what I call think pieces from time to time. My channel is primarily about like fashion and doing things in the DMV and a little bit of vlogging, you know, and some think pieces sprinkled in. If I have a topic I want to talk about, I'm going to pull up the camera, get the mic out, and we're going to talk and rock it out. I do live streams usually once a week. We did talk about this topic in a live stream, but I had more to say. So I want to do a dedicated video on the topic, right? And we got it done. So yeah, if you have not done so, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Support the channel. It is free. And with that, I will see you on my next video or live stream. Bye.